Hello St. Lucians, this is Open Mic. We are back again with two very special guests this evening. On my right is Dr. Charles, and he will give a small resume about himself. And on my left is Dr. King, who needs no introduction whatsoever. Our program today will deal with offshore medical schools, which is a project which has been close to my heart for more than 15 years, and a project I have absolute faith in, which will certainly materialize. Dr. Charles, just give me a slight resume of yourself.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chastine. I am from Guyana. I am a physician, public health trained and postgraduate from the University of Michigan. I functioned in government in the area of health, housing, environment at one point in time, and then I became Minister also of Medical Education, Food Policy, and the Environment. I worked in government for about 7 years. I led a team to establish the first medical school in the University of Guyana. And then I worked in the international front with WHO for over 20 years. The first post being here in the Eastern Caribbean for PAHO WHO, then on to Jamaica, then on to Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, and on to Washington. Since then, I've joined the St. Helens University as the Vice President of Academic Affairs and the Academic Dean. And I'm happy to be in St. Lucia once again to lead this important effort, which I think can contribute to growth and development, not only in the Caribbean, but on the wider field.
Dr. King, we've had several conversations in recent times concerning a medical school, and you and I appear to be on the same page. So I would just like you to give the public a synopsis of what we have in mind, briefly, and then we'll start our discussions.
Yes, Mr. Chastine. I think that medical education is actually a great opportunity, great potential, and I think it's an area that we have under-realized in St. Lucia. Yes, we have a number of medical schools in St. Lucia serving the need, but I think we could do a lot more. And I think there's great potential for the economy. There's great potential for us to create high quality medical education in various medical disciplines, not just doctors, but nurses, physiotherapists, pharmacologists, medical technologists, the whole slew of medical disciplines and health disciplines that are available. I think that Mr. Chastine and I, we have shared a vision of the kind of high quality medical school of international standard based right here in St. Lucia, because we think that quality is really what underpins success.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Dr. King. I'm not a doctor. I'm more attracted to the business side, and I honestly feel that if such a university were constructed in St. Lucia, the economic stimulus would be fantastic. We just have to look around in the Grenada, St. Kitts, Antigua, Dominica to see what's going on. To the best of my knowledge, I think the St. George's University contributes something like 20% to the GDP. I'm not exactly how much it does in Dominica, but I can tell you for a fact that this is what keeps Portsmouth alive today, having been there myself. And in recent times, both Antigua and St. Kitts have at least 900 students each. And the wonderful thing about the university is the fact that when these students come down, they rent apartments and they spend money on the island. So it's a very affluent group, plus the fact their parents, their friends visit them regularly. I have seen for myself firsthand in Grenada what that has done, and I'm determined one way or the other, but I consider myself very blessed and lucky to have a person like Dr. Charles and Dr. King on board with me, and I really intend to make this thing a reality. But I've done a lot of homework on it, and one of the areas which I need to focus upon is the fact that this university has to take place near the water. Unfortunately, we have at our disposal two lovely properties, one very close to the Friendship Roundabout, which is about 5 to 6 acres, and another one down with close to VG Airport, which is some 7 acres. And I really want, within the next year and a half, providing that the government comes on board wholeheartedly with us, understands the importance of it, and I hope and pray that Dr. Anthony is listening to this program. He can give us a hearing and let us move this project, because from a business side, what I've noticed, there are many businesses that were once successful that can no longer hold their own. The dynamics of the world is changing considerably, and we have to think of something differently. The days of buying, selling, and a little manufacturing, a little real estate here and there, that's all well and good. I'm not saying that we should forget it, but we have to think positively and deal with what has a future. And education is the future, there's absolutely no question about it. With all what's happening abroad, one just has to look at the States, where you have a series of natural disasters, strong winters, very hot summers, in the Middle East and Europe. We see all what is happening there, the Ukraine and all about the world, Egypt, and people are getting more and more despondent of what is going there, and they're looking for safe havens. Hence the reason why only last week our tourism product has increased tremendously. And I think, and it has been supported by the ministry, that one of the reasons why it has done that well, it's because very, very cold winters, extremely cold winters, more people have traveled, and also highlighted, that's why we have the Russians down here now looking at the possibility of our yachting industry. And these are areas that we need to focus on. And being in the supermarket business for a number of years, we've had to rely wholeheartedly on Guyana for all our pharmacists. And with a medical school here, these are all the areas you can address. And at this point in time, I will let Dr. Charles deal with that on a more detailed basis, because that's more his field, what he's doing down there, what he's seen. His university has approximately 45 students down, and I have to say that I'm very pleased that between the International University at Vieux-Fort and the St. Helens University, that when I was chairman of NDC, these are areas that I pushed wholeheartedly. St. Helens came in subsequently to my departure, but the international school came in there, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, before leaving the NDC, I allowed or gave my okay, in conjunction with the Prime Minister of St. Lucia at the time, Dr. Anthony, to allow some 6 or 9 acres on the St. Jude's Highway for a university. So Dr. Charles, please.
Thank you very much. I think, let me say, the important issue of the Prime Minister declaring the university town is a very, very credible and important initiative for the development of St. Lucia. There is a global demand for physicians and other health personnel. So I think investment in medical education, nursing education, allied health is very, very critical at this juncture. Health is a resource for a life, for development. And we have to understand and see health as an input to economic development and not singularly as an output. Because at the heart of development is human capital, where health becomes that resource. In the case where we are in the south with St. Helens, this is where the entire curriculum that we have is focused on health and development, for both linking the medical program, the nursing program, and we should be moving very quickly onto an expansion in pharmacy and rehabilitative medicine. There is also a possible linkage in the whole area of osteopathy. There's some discussions going on right now with one of the universities, just started in the States. But we want to ensure that, one, that the program is a credible program of high quality, and this in essence speaks to the whole issue of accreditation within the Caribbean, and which is linked to the World Medical Education Program for accreditation of all medical schools. And that is an important aspect. We are now preparing to go to the Caribbean Accreditation Authority to have accreditation done. But I don't think that schools should see it as a barrier, but schools should ensure And it is a good thing that St. Lucia is ensuring that all the schools become accredited. Very, very important. I think it can abound. There's no doubt that with a university town focused also not only on medical education but nursing and other disciplines, can abound significantly to growth, significant growth and development within St. Lucia and the wider Caribbean.
And you know, Mr. Shastri, I've been thinking as well that the link to a hospital is an important aspect. I think that a school centered around a hospital would actually be ideal for a number of reasons. One, the medical education product, that is the schools in the region, tend not to be linked directly within a hospital or to a hospital. So I think in St. Lucia we could position ourselves to have that kind of link. So what we could do is we could actually see ourselves not just doing the first couple of years of a medical degree here in St. Lucia, but actually doing the full degree, including the clinicals. And that actually has benefits not only from an economic point of view in terms of keeping students here longer, but it also has benefits in terms of actually the service, health service to the people, the residents in the country, St. Lucians, us St. Lucians. Because what it does is it actually allows us to develop services that we can better support. So for instance, let us look, if you look at the south at St. Jude Hospital, we could, or New National, or the private hospital, if you looked up north. But let's take St. Jude's for a minute. St. Jude Hospital, situated in the middle of the university town, being a center of medical education in the south as well, linked to the medical schools, tightly linked, would I think do a great benefit, not only to St. Jude, but to the medical schools. We could, because I can see, and I'm sure Dr. Van Berchals can speak to this, that we could actually see where we can bring in specialists. So for instance, certain services that might not be readily available in St. Lucia, we can make them available through the whole process of involved in medical education. When you consider, Mr. Shastri, we have a population of 170, 180,000 people. That size of population cannot support all the medical disciplines that are so necessary to serve people. However, with a medical school, with services on board that can attract patients and can support doctors who might otherwise not be able to be full-time employed to provide that particular service. I don't know if you see where I'm coming from. That means we could actually not only do good medical education, but we could increase the scope and quality of service.
You are so right. You are so right, and because this is something we have to take a break. We'll be back shortly.